Awesome, awesome, awesome. Mr. Jason Darnell.
So hey everyone, my name's Jason Darnell, and I'm here today to tell you that I'm a proud gamer. Thanks guys, I feel at home. I like all sorts of games. I like card games, board games, of course video games, MMOs, RPGs. As a matter of fact, just before I came out on stage, I made it to a new level on Candy Crush. So I'm feeling pretty fired up today. So for 12 years of my life, I taught middle school social studies. Since then, I've become a game designer, and just recently, 2 years ago, an entrepreneur. I'm here today, though, to ask a pretty radical question, and that question is, why can't learning be fun? Like, seriously, why can't learning be fun? You know, I look back at how I was taught, and it was probably pretty similar to how you're taught today. As a matter of fact, it's probably pretty similar to how your grandparents were taught. You see, the way kids have been taught in school has never really changed. It's always been the teacher at the center of the classroom, the textbook at the center of knowledge, note-taking as the medium that this knowledge is transferred to the students. Well, I'm here today to say that school could use an update. Learning could use an update. But what kind of update? What teaching tool has the ability to motivate us, compel us, even transfix us into the learners that we know we could be? Could games work? Like really, could games work? Could games motivate us to attend and participate in class more? Could games compel us to do our best in each class? Could games make learning fun? Well, let's examine that. But first, I want to talk about games. So to talk about games, I want to start by asking, in your opinion, who is the greatest video game character of all time? All right. Wow, I did not expect that reaction. Okay, so I have a few up here on the board, and I just want you to think. So, could it be Kratos from the God of War? Could it be Master Chief from Halo? Lara Croft from Tomb Raider? Marlon's cheering over there. Could it be Desmond Miles from Assassin's Creed? Pac-Man. From the game, surprisingly, Pac-Man. Snake from Metal Gear Solid. One of my favorites. That's right, and it seems to be some of yours. Ryu from Street Fighter. Mario. Or Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, look. I'm here to say that all of these are incorrect. In my opinion, the answer to this question is simple. And the answer is Bo Jackson from the game Tecmo Bowl. Now, many of us are very confused, like it was a hush went over the crowd. So let me go ahead and explain who Bo Jackson is with some visuals so you can really see who he was. He was an athlete that lived in the 80s and early 90s. He played both professional football and professional baseball, and he excelled at both. He did things that people had never seen done before on an athletic field. He was athleticism incarnate. He was simply the best. He was simply better than everyone else. There were stars, there were superstars, and then there was Bo Jackson. So, in the game Tecmo Bowl, Bo did not disappoint. Here is Bo running for a 99-yard touchdown. Watch how easy it is. So, what is Tecmo Bowl? Tecmo Bowl is a game that came out in the 80s, early 90s. It was the first football video game that featured... yeah, right, see how he teases before he goes in a touchdown. It was the first football game that featured real NFL players and real NFL teams. And if you're any sort of sports gamer like myself, you know this is vital to the realism of the game and your excitement. Because without real players, you couldn't play with the teams that you cheer for at home. So Tecmo Bowl was a really big advancement in football and in video games. But the only problem is you couldn't play a whole season. And if you can't play a season, then you can't have league leaders, you can't have stats, you can't have standings, you couldn't even make a trip to the Super Bowl. You just had to play one-to-one head-to-head matchups. So I was younger, much younger when I played this game, of course. And so a group of friends and I decided we would get around this problem by just starting our own league. So for 17 weeks straight, plus playoffs, a group of young boys, including myself, would invade one of our houses and play out our league for 17 weeks straight. In order to do this, we needed to be organized. We needed to have a commissioner. So one of my friends acted in the role as a commissioner of our league. He managed it, he maintained it, he made sure people did what they were supposed to do so the league ran. We had a friend in the role of a statistician. He was the best math student, of course. and as my group of friends, I think he's a dentist now. But the statistician would keep track of season stats, league leaders. He would do complicated math problems to figure out averages and things like that. And we had a scheduler who would call everyone each week to tell them when their game was and where they needed to show up to play. And you know what? It was an absolute blast. Here are some things I remember. First of all, every game was played. Every single one. Everybody showed up when they were supposed to. Second of all, everyone gave their best effort. Everyone. It was obvious. When their team won, they celebrated. When they lost, they did the opposite. But most of all, it was fun. It was lots and lots of fun. So I thought of this story for a while, and I really wasn't sure why the story stuck with me until I became a teacher. So when I became a teacher, my first year, I was ready to save the world. Of course, right? You're a first-year teacher. If you don't want to save the world, then you're in the wrong profession. My problem was I had no idea how I was going to do it. I had no idea. So I would just teach and watch. And what I learned quickly was that kids love to play games. It doesn't have to be a video game. It can be any kind of game, but kids love to play games. So I asked myself a question. I asked, well, could I just turn my class into a game? Like, could my class teach through a game? And so I created a game, and it was called Lone Star. I taught Texas history, by the way. So real quickly about Lone Star, it was a strategy simulation game that lasted the whole year. Kids in groups of 4 to 6 acted as a city council, and they led a mythical town through Texas history. So whatever happened in Texas history happened to their town. Their citizens were evaluated on a quotient that I created called happiness. So the better they did in the game, the more happy their citizens were. And what you found out? This game taught empathy. These students felt for these fake citizens that did not even exist. And it was lots of fun. So one day I was talking with good friend and now current business partner Rick Brennan about my experiences with Lone Star, and we came to this question. Our question was, well, look, if a weekly game like Lone Star could make that much difference in a classroom, what if we could play a game every day? And so for the next 8 years of our life, we answered that question. And the answer is Historia. So Historia, for those of you that do not know, which is probably many of you, is the first ever curriculum-aligned social studies, strategy, and simulation game that teaches not only world history, but world cultures, economics, government, geography, critical thinking, and lots more. As Rick and I like to say, Historia teaches the human experience through the human experience, and it works because it's so much fun. So, how do you play? Well, Historia teaches 4,000 years of history. It starts in 2000 BCE, ends in 2000 CE, so it connects the present to the past. The game is divided into 21 rounds of play, or epochs. In each one of these rounds of play, students in groups of 4 to 6 form governments, and then these governments make decisions that lead a fictional civilization through world history. If their research is good, if their social studies knowledge is good, if their preparation is good, then their decisions will bear fruit for their civilization. Their civilizations will grow more influential. They'll receive technological advancements. They'll receive cultural advancements. And if the opposite happens, their research is not good, their knowledge is not good, then the opposite happens. What did we notice when we started using Historia? Well, I know you've seen this slide before. 100% of our students participated in each class. Now, that doesn't mean that nobody got sick, nobody went to the dentist, nobody went to the orthodontist. That means that every warm body in that classroom participated, and they were involved. Secondly, the kids really felt for their people, for their civilization, so they gave their best effort. When their civilization was successful, they celebrated in groups together. When they were not successful, groups mourned together. You know what? It was lots and lots of fun. So I want to end today with a story about Historia that I think really sums up everything and ties everything into a knot. So one day, using Historia, a teacher sees a student in the back of the class. And it's towards the end of class, and that student is kind of digging through the trash. Now, as a teacher, this is not right. There is something going on, and it's probably not good. So this teacher asks the student to stay after class so they can talk. So the bell rings, students leave. Child goes to the teacher. The teacher says, I noticed you were digging through the trash. That's not normal behavior. Are you cheating? And this student's answer changed my life. It changed Rick's life. So here was his answer. His answer was, I'm not cheating. I need to get these documents out of the trash and erase the answers because every Friday night at home, my family and I play Historia. He went on to say that we've enjoyed it so much that we've started inviting neighbors to our house to play. And every Friday night, all of sixth grade year, a community in Texas played Historia without us even knowing it or being aware of it. It was crazy to think of. It was crazy to think that a student would dig through the trash to learn social studies. So, shocked as I was when I heard that story, it didn't really, I couldn't figure out why that had happened. But you know what? I thought of Tecmo Bowl. And I thought of how a silly football game made a group of young kids do crazy things like create this league out of nothing for no reason except for the fun of playing. And it all made sense. So, why can't learning be fun? Thanks for listening.
Swan.